Welcome everyone to the first Coaches Show of the 2020 school year. I'm your host Brody Feldman. Alongside me is head football coach Lee Blankenship. Coach, how you doing?
Brody, I'm great, man. It's great to be back on. Great to be able to work with you this year, and great to be talking about a little football right now.
Yes, everyone's trying to find a normal. We need some normal, and what's more normal than sitting here talking some football? So it's great to be here and to get going. So this year, the fans will see something a little different right off the bat on Friday. You guys will be in a new uniform. You'll be in the Jumpman brand or Jordan brand. What does that mean for a program like this?
Well, for one thing, just to be one of the only schools in the state of Oklahoma selected to have a chance to wear the Jumpman brand, it's just cool for our kids. You know, anything that we can do as a coaching staff to give our kids, you know, something special or to do for them, you know, to give ourselves a mental advantage. We're gonna do everything we can to do that for our guys. So, you know, to be the Mustang Broncos, and then the other school is the Oklahoma Sooners wearing that Jordan brand is a pretty cool deal for our kids for sure.
Awesome. What was the reaction like when the kids finally got to see it? And I guess some of you coaches as well.
Man, well, for one thing, I had to start looking personally and seeing I got to buy some basketball shoes now, right? But no, when we released the news to our kids, they were so fired up. We actually are wearing Jumpman. It's an alternate uniform. We're wearing that for our home games, and then we'll still be in our traditional Nike for our away games. So another couple of weeks, and we'll get to see those.
Awesome. I know you coaches, y'all wear the Jordan brand shoes, so y'all are going to be styling down there on the sidelines on Friday night.
Absolutely, our coaches have jumped full into the Jordan brand and the shoes. It actually all started last year, just first year in Mustang, and I thought, man, I got to do something cool for our kids and our coaches and try to bring a little swag to this program and get our kids fired up. So I surprised our coaches and we bought them all a pair of Jordan shoes to wear for their coaches' shoes instead of the traditional, style of shoe, and that was really cool. And then that kind of morphed into, hey, what if we try to take this a step further and see if we can, get Jordan to allow us to be a part of their, it's really a small group of football playing schools around the country, in college and in high school, that have an opportunity to wear them. So we were fortunate enough to get an opportunity to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. You brought up last season you had a great first year here in Mustang. Not only did you make the playoffs, but you hosted first round. You hosted Jinx Trojans. What are some goals and expectations set for this year in your second year here?
Man, last year was a special year, and just thinking about the seniors from last football season, man, there will always be such a special place in my heart for those guys and their buy-in, and I was so thankful for them. Our goals are the same. We have the same goals as everyone else. Our purpose is a little bit different, and that's something that I love to talk about with people. I believe there's a difference between purpose and goals, and our purpose as a coaching staff and as a program is to impact our kids in a way that they understand what it means to be men of character, what it means to be leaders in our community. We want to see future great daddies and husbands and men in the workforce, and that's a goal of our coaches. It's more than a goal; it's our purpose as a coaching staff to get those young men that graduate from our program to go and be successful away from football. In terms of football, honestly, I'll give you the cookie cutter football coach answer, but it's what we really believe in. It's about us. It's about being our very best every day. It's not about our opponent each week. I know you're going to want to talk about UConn in a little bit, and we'll be happy to do that. But it's really not about UConn or how good UConn is or what UConn's doing. It's about us. It's about our attitude and our effort. It's about our preparation, and just trying to get our kids to understand that every single day, I think is what's going to help us to have success this year.
Awesome. You brought up last year's team. You lost around 30 seniors from last year's team.
Yeah.
So what is this year's team going to have to do to grow as that family, as I know every coach, especially yourself, is looking for?
Again, man, our seniors from a year ago, there's such a special place in my heart. I've actually been hearing from a lot of them, just guys giving me calls, shooting me texts, Coach, good luck this week, and we're pulling for you, and to get to just kind of talk to those guys and see how they're doing is really special, and to maintain that relationship that we had with them a year ago. They laid a great foundation for, our future and for this year. Building relationships and creating that team unity, that's something that I think it's overlooked a lot in football. It gets overlooked. Even as coaches, we get so geared toward trying to accomplish our goals, but a big part of that is getting your kids to believe in your process, to love one another as much as they love themselves, right? To build that brotherhood and unity. It's really been a challenging year with COVID-19. We normally we want our kids to high five and hug and hang out and sit right next to each other at lunch and go to the movies together. And now we just find ourselves as coaches having to yell, separate, stay 6 feet apart, put your mask on. And that's been challenging. It's been necessary, obviously, and it's something that we've really worked hard to do a great job in keeping the health and safety of our kids at the forefront. But it's really been challenging. We have so many cool events like our team lock-in every year, where we really focus on our team bonding and unity. We had to cancel that, an event we call the Pig and Pool, which is a cool event where our kids just get to hang out and have fun and be buddies and do some stuff together that's outside of football. We had to cancel that. So a lot of those things, we've had to really be creative in how to create that brotherhood and unity. And I feel like our guys have considered, with everything stacked against us and considering all of those factors, our guys are in a really good place right now, really playing hard for one another. I've honestly been so proud of the way our boys have come together in the face of adversity and just stuck together and are still playing hard.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I know the complications of this year was a global pandemic. You touched on it quite right there, but what are some of the complications that you're seeing in the middle of the week now that you're preparing for a game? Are there any complications regarding practice or game film or anything like that?
Man, yes, I can give you a really long answer, but the answer to that is yes. Everything has been different, even in just, the way we practice. We've had to rethink everything that we do as a coaching staff, and even like in things like in the locker room, everything's taking a little bit more time this year just because of all of the precautions and the social distancing and us really making an effort to do things the right way and keep our players as safe as we can. Talk about a complication. It's a great time. I've got some breaking news for you right here on the First Coaches Show. We were told, we were informed on Friday that a young man from our first scrimmage, the opposing team, tested positive for COVID-19. Their school called and told us, so we had to, on the recommendation of the health department, quarantine our starting 5 offensive linemen, and that quarantine is a 14-day quarantine. Now, none of our guys have any symptoms. None of them have tested positive, but it doesn't matter. Just with the current CDC guidelines, they are at home and they won't be able to practice all week long. And leading up to the UConn game. So we're actually, I know that is getting ready to press release is getting ready to break. So you heard it here first, folks, on the show. But we're going to move the game to Saturday. It'll be a 6 p.m. kickoff. And then our starting 5 offensive linemen are at home watching film. They won't be able to be at practice, but we've decided that to play the game is what is the right thing to do in both communities, especially for those young men who really have done everything right. Those 5 offensive linemen and our whole team, and not to punish them or keep them from playing. So they're still going to run out there. It's that in itself, trying to figure out how do you prepare an offensive line without having them in person and on campus, and they're them sitting in their homes, not because they're sick, but just because that's what our guidelines say. And so that is yes. The answer to your question is yes. Very challenging, but our coaching staff, man, I really believe that our coaches in our program are some of the best in the country, and we are full speed ahead. We're going to do everything we can to get our kids ready, even if it means being creative or finding new ways of doing things a little bit different than we're used to. We're going to grow, we're going to learn, and we're going to give our kids everything that we absolutely have and hopefully get them ready to play on Saturday night.
Saturday night. Talk about throwing a wrench in the plans of the first week of the season. Trying to get back to normal, and bam, let's throw something abnormal at
2020, man. That's 2020.
Something will happen. Yeah. So you've had 2 scrimmages so far. You've seen, what is it? I guess two quarters each scrimmage.
Right.
What are some things that have stuck out to you in those outings, and some of your players that have really stuck out?
You know what? In both scrimmages, first of all, I always have to lead with this, and this is something that is sometimes hard to get our kids and hard to get our fans to understand. We're not trying to win a scrimmage. We went against Choctaw in week 1, and honestly, Choctaw looked really good. They put some points on the board on us, and we did some good things as well. We moved the football well. Our purpose in scrimmages is to put our kids in bad situations. We're not trying to call the perfect play on the offensive side. We're not trying to get in the perfect defensive look on the defensive side to stop or to score on, regardless of the side of the ball, our opponents. We're trying to put our kids in situations that and see how they respond to them. So our kids really, they work through that well. I thought from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, we got just a ton better. Our effort was outstanding. Again, we didn't put our kids in the best situations. We just put them out there and put them in situations. It's really important to me to see how our guys going to respond when the scoreboard shows that we're down. What's our effort like when we get tired? What happens? What's our quarterback or our skill players? What's their approach to our offensive line when we call a play and the defense breaks through and makes a tackle, right? And it's really, at the end of the day, people that know football know that's probably not the best call into that look, but what's our response to that? We've got to figure those things out about our team. So for that reason, I would say our scrimmages were extremely successful. And that second one, man, we moved the ball really well. Our quarterbacks got some great reps. Got a lot of our backs, really, really quality reps. And I really feel like we're in a really good place right now moving forward going into week 1, because we are trying to win this one. And Absolutely. We're going to get them in the right scheme, and we're going to get them in the right play call. So that's something that we're excited about. So successful scrimmages, even though, some on the scoreboard, that's the last thing that I always say wouldn't even turn the scoreboard on those things. But on the scoreboard, those are, it might not look like that to the general public, but really successful.
Awesome. Being at the scrimmages, I've noticed at least 3 quarterbacks going out on the field and getting some reps. So we have a little competition there. How are things really starting to take shape, not only there at the quarterback position, but I know you've got some, I guess my lack of terms here is some competitions going forward into this first week.
Absolutely.
And probably going as far as week 4 once you hit district.
Absolutely, man. So one of the things that is a mantra for us on the offensive side of the ball, Coach McDaniel does such a great job at just instilling this into our players. We say how deep, and Coach McDaniel will yell how deep, and the kids respond too deep. And what we mean by that is everyone on our offensive side of the ball needs to be ready to play at any time. Case in point, this week, the entire offensive line could be quarantined at home, and we better hope that we're deep and have kids that are ready to be the next man up and step up and continue, to roll. And that's exactly what, our kids' mentality is right now. And again, Coach McDaniel does such a good job at creating that. At the quarterback position, we're deep, man. I really believe that we have one of the strongest quarterback groups in the state right now. Ethan Young, there's a junior. There's a lot of youth there. Junior Ethan Young, who saw some action last year. He's probably leading that competition. We expect him to run out as a starter on Saturday evening. But then you have Tristan Russell, who's a sophomore and just a dynamic player. I could easily see him as the season goes getting some opportunities, or even there being a little package. He's such a good runner and really makes some explosive plays. And then another sophomore, Logan Tao, he's so coachable, and he does everything that we ask him to do. He really has graded out well for a sophomore, maybe one of the highest graders that and I say graded out. We grade every rep that they take in practice, and his eyes are in the right spot. He's making the throws. So we feel really confident in those 3 guys right there, and at any time, one of them coming and making a play. In the backfield, I can talk forever about our kids now. I love being able to highlight our kids. We've got a great group of backs in the backfield, 2 seniors. Devin Martin probably leads the group with coming back with experience. He had a good season last year. Had a really big game actually against UConn in the first game of the season, and that kind of catapulted him to the rest of the year. Elijah Young is another senior. Elijah was injured last year, and man, we expect him to come on really strong this year, and we're excited about him. He's really a shifty and strong, powerful runner. You've got junior Brett Phillips, who has a 275-pound power clean, just a really physical runner and very strong, very quick. So he's going to give us some really good reps. And then a sophomore, Jay Bedford, who is just dynamic, man. He reminds me of a young Kari Brown. We remember Kari from last year and how explosive and anytime the ball went to his hands, man, it could go. And Jay has that same, absolutely. Jay has that same playmaking ability. So we're excited about our backfield. Again, at every position, there have been competitions all year long. Defensively, in our secondary, there is a strong competition at the linebacker. When you lose 30 seniors, and we lost a lot of starters, you as a coach, you go, man, I hope some kids step up and fill those roles. We have battles going on with multiple kids who are hungry to fill those roles, and that makes you feel really confident and really good as a coach. And just moving forward, knowing that we've got kids that are going to step into those roles and be great in those roles, and competition never hurt anybody now.
Oh, absolutely not. And I know you're one of those guys that you believe in iron sharpens iron. And
absolutely.
What's better than some competition all around the field? So last season you had Jacoby Johnson. He really broke out late in the season and was well known nationally throughout the offseason. Who's somebody that maybe you've already mentioned, someone you haven't mentioned that the community could expect to really have a breakout year and who knows, maybe become nationally known as well?
Absolutely. We had a couple of players get a lot of exposure in the off season, and that's just something I think that comes with winning some big games, and we work really hard. Our touchdown club this year was so good to us to send our coaching staff to Nashville, Tennessee, which is where the American Football Coaches Association has their yearly clinic, and that was actually in January. So a couple months later, we didn't realize we weren't going to be playing football that year, but we had an opportunity to go. And why it's important for high school coaches to go to that is to help get their kids recruited, and so we were able to start building relationships and really get to every coach in the country is their college coach. So we're excited to be able to go to that and really try to bring those recruiters and those college coaches into Mustang to make our kids marketable and hopefully help them get recruited. So I mean, man, we've got all of those sophomores that I just mentioned have opportunities to be seen. A kid that I'm really excited about is a defensive lineman. Caden Jones is his name. Caden has the body type to be a really special player. Has the appearance of a Division I football player. He's young. He's learning our scheme and our defense, and as soon as he starts figuring those things out mentally, man, he's got the body type and the strength to be a really, really solid player. So I wanted to mention him. Anthony Gescheidel is a senior on our defensive line. I think he's getting ready to really get a lot of exposure. Just a solid guy. Corian Hayden is another one. I mean, his older brother's playing at Nebraska right now on the defensive line. Corian starts at defensive end for us and is going to have a breakout year. There's so many kids. I know I'm leaving some kids off, and I'm going to get to all of them as time allows throughout the season. But no, we're excited. We have some new faces and some starting roles, but we're really excited to about our season, about our kids, and our program this year.
Awesome. I know there's an elephant in the room or a trophy in the room that Mustang holds, and we always love to see this trophy here on campus. After a 38-0 win last year in your first game here against UConn, it's this week. You already announced it Saturday at 6 p.m. So how have preparations been? I know early in the week we had some storms that kind of pushed you away from the practice field. So how's it been preparing?
Yeah, we did have some weather on Monday. Obviously we've talked about our offensive line. So there are always, in preparation for UConn, little things like that could make us go, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? But we are really an attitude and effort, eye control football program. That's one of our core values. Again, I believe in mantra. I talked about Coach McDaniel using that earlier, but we'll yell attitude and effort as a coaching staff, and our kids will immediately respond back and say eye control. And I really believe that a lot of times, man, you say something over and over again, your kids and your coaches, they start believing that. And that is something that I really feel strongly that we believe as a program. We're going to control our attitude. Our effort's going to be perfect. And as we work through the week, that's how we will have success. It's not about the things that we can't control. It's not even about our opponents. It's about how hard can we prepare? How well can we focus? Is our attitude great? Is our effort perfect throughout the course of the week? And then when we get to the game, the game will take care of itself if we can control those factors throughout the course of the week. So with that in mind, I'll say that our preparation for our opponent this week has been excellent.
Awesome. I know last year, like we mentioned, 38-0, X's and O's were ready to go, rocking and rolling that Friday night. So X's and O's, I mean, that's something that you guys look at for months in advance at this one, not just for this game, but for the whole season. So are the X's and O's ready to go?
I think so, man. They have a new scheme on defense this year that is really a challenging scheme. A lot of people call it the amoeba defense. So yeah, it's really fun to watch. You see their defensive line, their linebackers, they're walking around, moving around. They're not in a traditional 3-point stance and lined up in a gap. And so it really changes or makes our rules and our blocking scheme challenging for our kids. So we've got to have great eyes. Our offensive linemen who are quarantined have to be great with film. This week we're going to get them back on Saturday and have an opportunity to do a couple of run-throughs with them. So that game day before the game is going to be critical for us in getting them just some actual fuller speed reps. Obviously we won't be in helmets and shoulder pads, but just for them to be able to see the look in front of them. There's one thing to see it on film, but seeing it in front is something else. So that's something that should be fun to watch. Our offense against that new style of defense, and then anytime you play the flex bone, I think Coach Reed and his staff do such a great job with that and getting their kids ready to play and playing hard, and they do a great job with their X's and O's as well, understanding this is how we're trying to defend them. So they're going to go to their next play and make us stop that as well. So it really is a chess game. On a Friday night, normally a Friday night, this Saturday night, it will be, and it'll be a lot of fun to participate in. Our defense has got to be disciplined, really sound, and play with perfect effort to stop them throughout the course of the night.
Awesome, Coach. I want to thank you for coming in. Our first Coaches Show of the year. Next week when we talk, looking for a 1-0 start to the season. Thank you for watching. If you'll stick around for just a few more minutes, you'll have a video that'll be instructional for something that Coach Blankenship believes in.
Yeah.
After every Friday night or this Saturday, his team will run to the band and sing along to the fight song. So if you can stick around and just learn it with us, and we'd love to see you after the game and singing along with the boys. Thank y'all for coming along, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Oh, when those Mustang Broncos fall in line, we're gonna win this game another time. For the dear old team we love so well.
For the dear old team, we'll fight forevermore.
We're gonna toss that ball and make a score.
We're gonna roll those Millers on the floor, out the door. M-H-S.
Oh, when those Mustang Broncos fall in line, we're gonna win this game another time.
For that dear old team we love so well.
For the dear old team we'll fight. We're gonna fight forevermore.